Today, well, I need to make dinner. And it's cool enough to turn the oven on. So I'm gonna make something that I've been kind of meaning to make for a while. I'm gonna make meatloaf. And in my opinion, meatloaf is one of the easiest things that you can meal prep because it literally takes no more effort to make two than to make one. So I'm gonna make two and throw one in the freezer. The first thing I'm gonna do is chop up this onion nice and small. Now, meatloaf is very, very American. But I really wasn't sure if I should put this in the American classic food list or not. Because while modern meatloaf, the first recipe for modern meatloaf dates back to the 1870s in, I believe it was, this onion is not being cooperative. I believe it was Missouri. I will put it somewhere if I'm incorrect about that. But it's got roots that reach back into Germanic areas. So would you consider it an American food or a Germanic food that we altered and adopted? That's the problem with so many American foods, is that their true roots and recognizable roots are in other countries. Ah! I think I need a longer knife. I'm just going to go ahead and put this onion in the bowl. Not sure if this is on camera, but I've got 3 pounds of ground beef in this bowl over here. Now, some people prefer to use a mixture of beef and pork in their meatloaf, but I usually just use beef. Sometimes I'll use pork. I do an Asian meatloaf once in a while that I use pork in, and I do a garden vegetable meatloaf that I actually make with this is not being cooperative, and I know I'm using too short a knife. What was I saying? Garden vegetable meatloaf that I use chicken in. And I know with the garden coming in, you'd think that I'd be making the garden vegetable meatloaf. But I put broccoli in that, and I don't have any broccoli right now. So I am going to make what I call a steakhouse meatloaf. But again, because I wasn't planning on this, we're altering my normal recipe a little bit. But that's kind of the fun in cooking, right? Is you make it work, and 9 times out of 10 it comes out good. At least that's my experience. And if you don't try things, you don't know if you're missing out on something amazing. And by trying new things, you create amazing new things. That's how I came up with the garden vegetable meatloaf. Was I had way too much zucchini going on one year. Not like I don't this year. And I decided I was going to try and put zucchini in meatloaf. So it was zucchini and onions and broccoli and I think chopped up green beans. And now I usually make it once a year. And I know once a year sounds like not much, but I get bored with food. So I don't make the same dish very often. I said I'm making steakhouse meatloaf, right? I probably haven't made this in a couple of years. So, and it's one of my favorites. But when I go to a steakhouse, you can get like the beautiful sauteed mushrooms and onions that they'll put on top of your steak. And that's why I'm chopping up onions and mushrooms to go inside this meatloaf, to kind of mimic that. I want these mushroom pieces to be about the same size as the onion pieces, maybe a little smaller, so I'm just going to keep running my knife through it until I've got a texture I'm happy with. I think one more pass. There. And in they go. And then normally I wouldn't be adding a tomato to this, but my tomatoes are coming in from the garden. I have a lot of tomatoes. I'm going to add a tomato to this because a little extra vegetable is a good thing. Into the bowl. Okay. Gonna get this out of the way because that's all the chopping we have to do. Now, when I do meatloaf, my general rule is 1 egg per pound of meat. I got 3 pounds of meat. We're going to do 3 eggs. Sorry, I know that made the camera wobble. Some pepper, because good steaks have pepper on them, right? I need to put some more salt in my salt thing. Good amount of salt. This is 3 pounds of meat. Garlic powder. And I know I've got all the fresh garlic from the garden, but in meatloaf I prefer garlic powder. There's 3 pounds of meat. Lots of garlic. Some cumin. Piece of mushroom that escaped. Some smoked paprika. And I'm feeling like putting some rosemary in it today. Not a little more. And I put A1 in my steakhouse meatloaf, and I thought I had another bottle of this, but I don't. So this is where we're going to get a little creative. This is a jar of pickled onions. We're not putting the pickled onions in the meatloaf, but I'm going to use some of the brine. Okay, one of them escaped in there. That's okay. To help get every last bit out of this bottle. Plus, there's vinegar in the A1, so that will help to, like, I'm trying to mimic the flavors. And then I'm going to add some Worcestershire, because the main flavor component in A1 is Worcestershire. And a bit of soy sauce for some extra umami. And then the only other thing is we need some breadcrumbs. I usually eyeball this, maybe half a cup per pound. Then just get in there with your hands and mix it all up. I'm gonna get all this mixed up, put some of these things away, and I'll show you how we finish it up in a minute. Be right back. Okay, I've got it all mixed up, and I'm gonna put half on this tray, and just kind of shape it. Oh, I forgot that I now don't have anything to glaze this with. We will survive. That camera is not facing. That's better. Sorry about that. Well, normally I'd coat this with A1, but I'm out of A1, and I'm certain it will be just as delicious without a glaze. And for all of you screaming into your tablets or phones or whatever you're watching on right now for me to put ketchup on top, I hate ketchup. I hate ketchup. It's one of the few foods that I just don't like in any form or any application. So no, I'm not going to put ketchup on top. If you like ketchup, you do you. But I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for about an hour. It may take a little longer than that. This is bigger than I usually make. And the other half, I'm going to take another tray, put down some plastic wrap, form it, wrap it in plastic wrap, and put it in the freezer. And we can have a lovely meatloaf in a couple of months, whenever I decide I want to eat that. But I will see you back to give this a taste when it comes out of the oven. The meatloaf is out of the oven, and it smells delicious. But the oven has made it really hot in here, so we're just going to taste it so I can get into where it is not so hot. I know it doesn't look like much. It would be prettier if I'd had more of that A1 sauce to use as a glaze, but I'm sure this is going to be delicious. Bon appetit. Mmm. Mmm, mmm, mmm. Wow. I know this isn't necessarily a traditional American meatloaf with like the ketchup and it's got more vegetables, but this is so good. And even without the glaze on top, even without having as much A1 sauce as I normally would have put in it, I probably would have used a whole bottle for that much meat. But using the Worcestershire and the soy and the vinegar out of the onions, I almost like this better. This is really, really good. Take a slice of this. Take a slice of this and put it on bread for a sandwich. Serve it with a salad or some mashed potatoes or some French fries or some green beans. And you will have a beautiful dinner. And the best part, there's another one in my freezer. Now, if you meal prep a meatloaf like I did today, when you go to cook it, what you would do, the day before, usually about a day before, maybe two, take it out of your freezer, unwrap it, otherwise it's just going to fall apart when you try to unwrap it. Unwrap it while it's frozen, put it on a cookie sheet, put a piece of foil on top to protect it, let it thaw in your refrigerator, and then you cook it just like I cooked this one. 350 for about an hour, hour and 15, till it's 165 inside with a meat thermometer. But that's all I've got for today. So if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!